finance, marketing, or consulting. No matter what role you're interested in, the top B schools will have the best placements. So this could be in the form of best companies, a bigger chunk of companies or bigger roles, or this could be in terms of more impactful roles, which could be in senior positions, senior designations, and also with higher salary. So in this video, I'm going to give you a detailed roadmap to get there. What is it that the top B schools look at? And how is it that you can get there? And by this time next year, have calls from these colleges. If you're new to our channel, I'm Sanchna from MOCAT, where you get directly coached and mentored by 99.9 plus percentilers. In this video, these are the four aspects that we are going to cover. We'll talk about the selection process itself that the top B schools have and the CAT exam, which would be a major chunk of the process. We'll get in depth into it, of course, for me to give you a roadmap on how you need to prepare and how you can score 99 percentile or even higher in CAT 2025. And along with that, we'll also cover what is it that we have at MOCAT to help you get there. Now, this part of the video will primarily be geared towards you if you have a MOCAT subscription. But I'll also talk about some of the free features that you have, which you can make use of if you have not taken up a pack. And of course, I'm going to give you clear actionables and an in-depth prep roadmap starting from now till the 30th of November, which is probably when the CAT exam is going to be scheduled. There are going to be chapters through the entire video so that if you need to, you can always, come back and check, or you can head over to a specific part. And now let's talk about how to get through an IIM or another top B school. So it's a four-step process. The first step, of course, being the entrance test itself. There's CAT, and there are other exams like XAT, SNAP, and NMAT. There are more exams, and we do coach for all of these four exams. But an overwhelming number of top B schools consider the CAT score or CAT percentile. So you have IIMs, IITs, FMS, SPGen, MDI. There's a huge chunk of these B schools. And that's why this exam becomes the single most important exam. These exams are held in the November to Jan time. And once the exam is done, the colleges that you've applied to will shortlist you. Now, to shortlist you, they'll consider your exam score, so that can be your CAT score or your CAT percentile. But along with that, they could also look at your profile. So your profile will include things like your academics, your 10th, 12th, and your college scores, diversity factors, which is primarily academic diversity and gender diversity, as well as your work experience, which is typically up to 3 to 4 years. The top B schools such as, IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, and so on, they do consider all of these other aspects. But there are also B schools including FMS and multiple IIMs where they say that we will give 100% or close to 100% weightage to your CAT exam score. And once you've been shortlisted, one definite thing which will be there is a personal interview. Now, this personal interview can be offline or online. Again, the top B schools will predominantly have an offline interview. The interview would usually be conducted with a couple of faculty members. Sometimes you can also have an alum from that B school. And along with the personal interview, you can also have certain other processes, like you can have a written ability test or an analytical writing test, basically some form of an essay where you're given a topic on the spot with either a time limit or a word limit or both, and then you have to write it out. You could also have extempore. So there are certain institutes like FMS, IIM Indore, IIM Rohtak, and so on, which have an extempore. Again, this is usually part of your personal interview process itself. And you can also have a group discussion, a group exercise, or some other aptitude test. When it comes to your final selection, the most important parameter is typically your personal interview. So just as your CAT score is really important for your shortlisting, the personal interview is very important for your final selection. But speaking about the CAT score or CAT percentile, that I would say is the single most important thing. Now, when it comes to your shortlisting, there are a bunch of IIMs, as you can see, where they will just look at your CAT score. They're giving 100% weightage to that. But a lot of the IIMs will calculate what's called a composite score. Now, your composite score will include your CAT score, and along with that, they will also look at your academics, so your 10th, 12th, and your college scores, diversity, so your academic diversity and gender diversity, as well as work experience. There are also certain other things which some institutes look at, so certifications like CAN, CFA, the ranking of your undergrad college, and so on. But take a look at IIM Ahmedabad. Now, IIM Ahmedabad does give importance to academics. In fact, there is a minimum that you need to have for them to even consider you in your 10th and 12th scores. But even then, right, they're saying we'll take your academics, they'll have certain points for diversity, they'll have points for work experience. But 65% of the total weightage is given to your CAT score. So your CAT score is twice as important as everything else combined, right? And you have the same thing everywhere. There's just about a couple of B schools in the top 10 where the weightage for your CAT score is less than 50%. right? And there are so many where it's 100%. And this number would increase even more if we consider other B schools. So FMS, right now there's 95% weightage for your CAT score. A bunch of other B schools which you consider only your CAT percentile. If you look at XLRI, right, they will only look at your XAT overall and sectional percentile. Symbiosis institutes, NMIMS institutes, they're only considering your exam scores to shortlist you. So this becomes really important. And your CAT score is also something which is considered for your final selection. So in your final selection, your personal interview score is typically the one with the highest weightage, but they do also include either the CAT score or the composite score again in your overall final selection score, making this a double whammy. Right, now that we've understood how important the CAT exam is, let's understand more about the exam itself. And one important thing, of course, becomes, are you eligible for the CAT exam? Now, there are some institutes which have slightly more stringent deadlines, but if you look at the CAT exam itself, or the majority of colleges, including the majority of IIMs, you basically need to have graduated. So you need to have some form of a bachelor's degree, or you can also be in your final year of graduation, because you'll be taking CAT in November and then you'll probably be graduating sometime before June next year when the term for the IIMs will start. The next criteria which they have is you need to have at least a 50% or equivalent in your college score, a little bit lower for certain categories, but you need to have this. And then aside from it, there's nothing else. This is all that they are looking at. So as long as you are in your final year and you have like a basic minimum score, that's going to be enough. Now let's understand some details about the CAT exam itself. This is an online exam like most other MBA entrance tests. You will have multiple choice questions and you will have what are called short answer questions. Now in short answer or type in the answer questions, you're typing in the answer, but typically what you will type in will just be a number. So even in verbal, the short answer questions are the odd ones out, where you just need to punch in which one sentence, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 is an odd one out. Or in quant or DILR, it'll probably just be a calculation and a number that you are punching in, like 2 or 10 or 25 or 27 or whatever it is. We've typically not seen anything which is a decimal number, anything like an irrational number, and no words or sentences that you need to type out. But this is something unique in the CAT exam, because the other exams typically are only MCQs. Now the exam itself is held on the last Sunday of November. So CAT 2025 is expected to be held on the 30th of November. The syllabus of the exam, or at least 2/3 of the syllabus of the exam, are things that you have already studied. So arithmetic, algebra, geometry, reading comprehension, these are all things which you know. But the exam itself becomes very different. It's much more logical, much more concept driven. And they even give us a calculator. So it's not very calculation intensive. It is more logic heavy or more conceptual. You can't just memorize formulae, or just having a very good vocabulary or a great 10, English score in 10 or math score in 10 might not be sufficient. You got to have a conceptual understanding, and you got to work on your test taking strategy as well. And in the roadmap, of course, I'm going to tell you how to do that. Now, the exam pattern itself, currently it's for 2 hours. You will have 40 minutes for verbal ability, 40 minutes for DILR, and then 40 minutes for quant. You can switch in between questions within the section, but you can't switch between the sections. The moment 40 minutes are done, it will shift to DILR and you can't go back or forward. Even if you finish in 35 minutes, you can't go forward. And in each section, you will have a specific number of questions. Now, till CAT 2023, we had 66 questions in 2 hours. And in CAT 2024, they introduced 2 more questions. So the current split is 24 questions in the verbal ability section, 22 in DILR, and 22 in quant. And when it comes to the questions themselves, for every question that you get right, you get 3 marks. And if you get it wrong and it's an MCQ, you will be penalized by 1 mark, so you'll get -1. But if it is a theta or short answer question, then you will get 0. So if you are choosing an MCQ and it's right, you get 3 marks. If it's wrong, you get a -1. If you are punching in something for a theta, if it's right again, you get 3 marks. But if it's wrong, you get 0. Now, if you look at the top B schools, now here I'm not considering the top 10, but if you look at the top 40 or 50 B schools, where you have 100% placements or close to it, an average starting salary of anywhere from 12 lakhs all the way to 30-35 lakhs, 100% loan for fees, you'll have around 25,000 seats. And this, if you see, is something which makes CAT a lot less competitive than other exams like UPSC or PG NEET or government exams. Yes, it's an exam which is probably a little harder. It's of medium or hard difficulty, but you have about 3 lakh people competing for these 25,000 odd seats. And when you look at the initial shortlisting, of course, you'll have a lot more people who would get caught. And this is the CAT exam syllabus. So for verbal, out of 24 questions, you have 16 questions which come up from reading comprehension, making it the single most important topic, not just in verbal, but also in the entire exam. There's nothing else which comes even close. And the current split is 4 RCs into 4 questions each. This is something that we've had since CAT 2021 and it's been going well. So I think this is something which they'll continue. The remaining 8 questions are from the verbal ability side. So you have summary, you have sentence insertion, and you have odd one out. We did have jumbled paragraphs in CAT 2023, 22, and so on, but in 2024 it was not there. Having said that, we are going to coach you for all of these topics because there is a possibility that it can come back. Usually there is some change which happens in the exam every year, and when it comes to verbal, it will typically be in the verbal ability part. Now moving to DILR. DILR was increased from 20 questions, which was 4 cases with 5 questions each, to 22 questions, and we had 5 cases. So we had 2 5-question cases and another 3 4-question cases, making it 22 questions. In CAT 2024, the DILR section was also significantly easier than the previous 2 years, and we'll talk about that when we cover the marks and the percentile. A heavy weightage here is given to logical reasoning. So you can also see that I've underlined the topics which are really important. So you have RCs, you have all of the logical reasoning topics, because typically 2 to 3 cases will come from this area. Even the data interpretation, it's heavy on the interpretation part. So there's logic that you use there as well. It's not going to be just, mathematical calculations or anything. In fact, they're giving a calculator, right? So it's more logical. And on the quant front, it's all high school math, arithmetic, algebra, geometry, numbers, modern maths, but more concept oriented, and the important topics become arithmetic and algebra. These, I would say, are the second most important topics after reading comprehension, because arithmetic and algebra combined will typically be at least 12 questions, probably about 14 questions. Now, when I usually tell people that, there are 68 questions and that's out of 204 marks, and ask them to guess what the 99th percentile would be at, for somebody who's a newbie, the guess is usually 140, 150 or 160 marks. Some people even go all the way to 180 odd marks, right? But the answer is actually closer to 40 to 50% of the total marks. So here, if you see, you have the marks that you needed last year to hit the required percentile. So if we take 99 percentile, we needed to get just 96 marks. That is a little less than 50%. I've also given you the marks that we need to get the similar percentiles for each section, and that's because IIMs also have a sectional cutoff. But before we talk about the sectional cutoff, let's understand a little bit more about this percentile itself. Now, 99 percentile, or any percentile for that matter, is very different from 99%. So you don't need 99% marks, or for that matter, 80% marks for 80th percentile and so on. You need to score above that percent people. So if you are scoring the 85th percentile, that means that your score is more than 85% of people who've taken this CAT exam. Or if you're scoring the 99th percentile, which is what I want you to do, then you are in the top 1%. So again, take about 3 lakh people taking the CAT exam. So you have to be in the top 3,000, right? So that is what it means to get the 99th percentile. And because of that, the marks versus percentile will differ every year based on, the question paper pattern, how difficult it is, how difficult people found it, and so on. So if we take a look at CAT 2023, it was significantly tougher. So instead of 96 marks, just 76 marks was enough to score the 99th percentile. CAT 2022 was a little bit easier than CAT 23, and here 84 marks were needed. CAT 2024 was probably closer to CAT 2021, where we needed 97 or just shy of 97 marks to get the 99th percentile. Now, you'll also notice one thing, that if I add up the marks for individual 99 percentiles, it's way more than 96 marks. And that's because you don't need to get the 99th percentile in each section. You need to just get the minimums, and the minimums are a lot lower than 99 percentile. Back in my day, it was somewhere around 92 to 96 percentile for the top IIMs, but now you have just one IIM which has its sectional cutoff at 85 percentile, and the others are at 70 to 80 percentile. So if I consider 80 percentile, 18, that's 6 questions in verbal, again close to 6 questions in DILR, and just 4 questions in quant would be enough for you to clear the sectional percentiles for all but one college. Even if we consider the 85th percentile, right? 5 questions. So 5 out of 22 questions in 40 minutes. If you do that, you find 5 or 6 easy questions and you solve them, you get them right in those 40 minutes. That's going to be enough for you to clear the minimums. Now, clearing the minimums, of course, is not going to be sufficient for you to get calls. What it means is you're going to be considered. So any institute, so let's take IIM Lucknow, for example, which is my institute, which has the highest cutoff currently. They say that you need to get a minimum percentile of 85 in each section, and you need to get a minimum of 90 overall for us to consider you. So what that meant was, for those who took CAT 2024, they had to get at least 57 marks total, and they had to get at least 20 in verbal, 19 in DILR, and 14 in quant. Now, let's say if there was somebody who got, let's say, 18 in DILR, but overall they had a very good score and they were at 96, the insured still would not consider them because they say that this is the minimum that you need to get. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you also have IIM Ahmedabad, which says that you need to get just 70 percentile in each section for general candidates, and it is progressively lower if you are in a reserved category. And 70 percentile scores are lower. In fact, they are about single digit when it comes to quant and usually DILR as well. Right? So first thing you need to do is you need to get these minimums, and then once you get the minimum, they will calculate your composite score, or they will look at your overall CAT score and they will call you. Now, in case if you're worried, if you're thinking that, oh, I'm weak in quant or I'm weak in verbal, don't worry. I'll give you a roadmap. And if you're a MOCAT student, then of course, you're going to get much better at each of these topics. But even otherwise, if something goes badly, some section completely goes awry and you don't get the minimums, you do have multiple B schools, including IIM Rohtak, where you don't have sectional cutoffs. And the score that you need for each insured also depends on your profile. So if you take the top IIMs, if you have extremely high academics, maybe you have 3 years work experience, and maybe you're also scoring on the diversity points, then the percentile that you would require to get a call would be lower. And the same thing will happen if you're coming from a reserved category. Now, if you are a general category engineer, male or female, you need a really high percentile typically, especially if you are a fresher or if your academics are not very great. So that is why I have also given you the marks that you need for 99.9 percentile. Now, 99.9 might not be required, but 99.5 to 99.8 is something which you would need to target. If you want to know more about this individually, just reach out to your relationship manager at MOCAT and they will guide you further in case you don't know that. But I've also given you the marks that you would need to hit if you're coming from these profiles, or if you feel that your profile is weak, maybe your academics are not great, or maybe you're a fresher and you want to make sure that you get the top calls. Target as high a score, target a triple digit score, and you should get those calls. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, why is it that people who maybe even have a 10 CGPA in 10th can't get even 50% of the marks? Right? There's so many people these days who have 80 plus, 90 plus, even like 100 out of 100 in a lot of papers. And 2/3 of the syllabus, of course, is a high school syllabus. So why is it that people are not getting that much? Why are the top 1% also not able to get 50% marks? Now, a couple of reasons for that. Of course, you have negative marking and it's a time paper. In our board exams, we're usually able to finish the paper. But when it comes to the CAT exam, even the 100 percentilers don't finish each section. Somebody might be able to finish, quant or verbal, but typically you can't finish the entire paper. So that bit is there. But I feel that the biggest reason is that, people don't prepare the right way. A lot of people tend to think that, hey, my, school marks are good, so I know when I'll be able to crack this exam. Or people start really late. Maybe they give themselves only, 2-3 months. Maybe they don't focus too much on the preparation. They just start with practicing questions, or they just have some books or PDF content, or maybe they don't focus on the test taking strategy. Because in an exam where you need to get about 50% marks, you can't be going sequentially. You can't be wasting time in quant writing out all steps. You have to think logically and quickly find the answer. You've got to find the easy questions. You have to stop wasting time with a hard RC or a hard DLR case. You've got to let it go. And these are all of the things that we will fix for you. So let's talk about what is it that we have at MOCAT for you to get this 99 or 99 plus. Now, when it comes to the website, you have your lesson videos, you have your practice questions, your mocks and omits, and other unique features as well. So let me show you that. Now, on the site, once you log in, you'll have complete access to the prep zone. And in the prep zone, the most important thing, of course, is the Learn tab, where you have all of the lessons for quant, for verbal, and for DILR. Right? Now, these lessons will also include topics which come up in other exams. So say, for example, in verbal, we'll also talk about some of these topics which come up in XAT, SNAP, and NMAT. But as I said, the most important, of course, are the ones for CAT. So you start off with these lesson videos. So let's say, for example, if you start off with profit and loss, then you have the entire concepts in the form of videos, and it's split into different modules. So you'll have multiple different modules which will be there, which you can watch. You can bookmark these modules. You can, bookmark it. If you have some doubt, you can come off to the class, get your doubts clarified, and so on. Now, quant, of course, is where you have the highest number of lessons, because that's the, that has the highest number of topics, right? Probably verbal is the one which is the least. And then you have DILR, where you have logical reasoning and data interpretation. Now, DILR, of course, will be more geared towards practice. So you will have a lot of solved examples, which will be there to help you understand. And verbal will be geared more towards techniques, right? Because to solve an RC or a summary question or jumbled paragraph, there are a lot of techniques which you need to prepare. Now, along with the lessons, there are also certain unique features. So, starting with quant, where I feel this is the most important. In quant, every topic will have a concept revision. So, once you're done with the lesson, let's take a logarithm maybe, right? So, once you're done with the lesson, what you will have towards the end is your concept revision video. Now, here you have Vignesh, who's a 99.99 percentiler in quant, explaining all of the concepts, right? And what you need to do is, once the lesson is done, you've solved all of the questions, with the in the lesson, make sure that you remember all or most of the concepts by using this video and the cheat sheet. And once that is done, then you take up the speed concepts. Now, these speed concept tests are basically bridging the gap between your concept knowledge and actually being able to solve questions when it comes to the CAT exam. So, as you can see, you have more than one test in each topic. What you can do is just start with one. So, say you're done with arithmetic 1, then take up one, speed concept in percentages, one in interest and growth, and so on. And your aim should be to be in the green or at least in the yellow. If you're in the yellow zone, just go back, refresh it. Maybe, the next month you target getting to the green. If you have a lower score, then you probably need to go through the lesson again a little bit more clearly, come off to the classes, ask your doubts, and so on. Now, of course, along with this, there are a lot of practice questions, easy, medium, and hard, and there's also the prep gym and so on. But the speed concepts become very important once you're done with the lessons. Similarly, for verbal, again, while we have a lot of practice questions for each topic, the author's POV, I would say, is the single most important thing. And that's because RCs are the most important topic, not just for verbal, but for the entire exam. Now, the reading comprehension passages themselves are going to be quite different from what we've had in school. So we have had all overseas sources for the last so many years, and they are across a wide gamut of genres. Now, a lot of us are familiar with science and tech or social science, which is nothing but your history, civics, and geography. Some of us might know economics or psychology or whatever you've studied, or even politics if you follow the news. But things like socioculture or sociology, philosophy, ethics, art and literature, these are also there. And above all, these are usually UK or US based sources, which means that we are dealing with their cultural context, their problems, what's happening over there, and so on. Maybe a lot of, idioms or other languages which they use overseas, countries, cities, and all, which could complicate it. Then on top of it, the questions also are very different from what we've had in school. So in school, we typically have more direct questions, but here we have more inferential questions. I'll put some up on the screen for you. And to answer these questions, we need to understand what is the author's viewpoint. Now, the author's POV is short for the author's viewpoint and the relevant supporting points. So these could be reasons, logical arguments, information, examples, whatever, right? So you've detailed lessons in the RC section, which will help you understand what it is. This is probably the longest lesson we have. So you'll understand how to do a focused read, how to identify the author's viewpoint, but that's not just enough. We also have a lot of solved examples that I have created. And this is why I recommend that you start with 4.1 and then go on straight to 4.3. Once you're done with 4.1 and 4.3, the next thing becomes finding the POVs. But even while you're going through the lessons, or even if you're starting with quant, just make sure that you are reading an article every day, right? So this can be from our Telegram channel, or it can also be from the site, whichever you prefer. You can come in, you can filter by certain genres, you can, filter by easy and less than 10 minutes to begin with, and so on. And then once you're done with the lessons, you actually practice the POVs. Now you can check your POV with mine, but if you are in the unlimited pack, then one more thing which you can do is you can actually share it with me and I can give you guidance, and you will see that way you can improve much faster because you're trying it out quicker. And one more thing which a lot of students tell me is that because they're sending it to me, they end up being a lot more consistent. So this is something where we've seen students improve their scores. People have, increased by 2x, 3x, 4x, and so on. So this is definitely a must prep area. Now, certain other things which you have your practice, you have your mocks, you have your daily quizzes, and you also have the speed module. So speed modules are more to work on your speed, maybe, your mental math, vocabulary and grammar on the verbal side, and so on. Now, along with all of this, of course, we will be having live classes. Live classes are at 8:30 in the evening, which is typically the schedule that we've seen that works out best for people who are in college or working. And you'll also have this class schedule. So this class schedule is pinned on the Telegram group. So you will have an idea of what are the classes and what you need to prepare. So if I take this week, for example, the lessons are on ratios and then algebra, linear and quadratic equations. So you can check it out over the weekend and see that, yes, these are the 2 topics I need to prepare, right? In verbal, we're discussing the author's POV. So you need to go through those RC lessons. But especially in quant, it becomes important to finish these lessons and then come for the class so that you can actually solve the classes. Now for the prep schedule, this schedule is something which you will have pinned in the main Telegram group, and along with that you will also have a recommended 3-month and 5-month timetable. Now if you are preparing full time or you have taken CAT before, then I would recommend going for the 3-month timetable. Whenever you're joining, don't need to see the date, just start with the topics which are being covered then. So for example, if you're starting in Feb, you can start with the algebra concepts and you will take up arithmetic the next time that it is covered, because typically every topic will be covered at least twice, and important ones like arithmetic, algebra, RCs will be covered multiple times. So you can always pick up on these later, but make sure that you are sticking to a schedule. As I said, if you're preparing full time, or even if you have half day college or an internship which is a little light, or you've prepared before, you've taken CAT and you're already at an 85-90 percentile or even more, the 3-month schedule should be good enough. In case if you need more time, we also have a 5-month schedule that you can go for. All of these are linked out here along with the other 2 Telegram groups that you need to join. One is for verbal, where you have the daily reading link and the POV, and the other is for the doubts. Now in every class you have a live doubt clearing, so at the end of every class you can ask us your doubts directly. You're not dependent on the third person, you don't need to send doubts in the chat or on Telegram. But you also have a doubt clearing group if you want text answers. And again, if you're in the unlimited pack, you can reach out to Vignesh and me if you have any personal questions that you want answered or you want any help from our side. You'll also be having access to regular one-on-one sessions. Typically I recommend this every 2 to 3 weeks, so that you have a shorter schedule and you can prepare, or you can reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll also help you out with a personalized schedule if you need it. So say if you're in college and you have exams at a certain time and then you have 2 weeks off and you want to prepare more, that's something that we will help you with by telling you what are the most important topics. You can also, as I said, reach out to me. You can send the POVs to me and I will guide you, and that way you'll see that you'll improve faster. What I've usually seen is, depending on where a student is, anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks is typically required to get a good hang of the POV and get it right. But if you're sending it to me, I've typically seen that that time is crunched by at least 50%. Live classes typically starting at 8:30 p.m. Usually this is 3 to 4 days a week, and then it will go all the way up to 6 days a week. And for every mock, again, there will be a mock strategy discussion. That's a live discussion where we'll focus more on the test taking strategy, which I feel is the other third. So your prep, your practice, and your test taking strategy. These are the 3 pillars which will help you get to that 99th percentile. Now this is something, of course, that we've already spoken about. You can reach out to Vignesh or me at any time for this. Now, before I talk about some of the free features that we have, let me tell you how you start if you are a MOCAT student. So first off, make sure that you're part of the Telegram groups and channels that we have. The main group where you get the class links, you will have the doubts group and the verbal group. Make sure that you've taken a look at the timetable and the class schedule. Make your plan to start with. Attend the live classes, participate and ask doubts. So during the class solving, you can unmute and ask us doubts, or in the open doubt clearing time you can ask any doubt. So these can be even like if you've read an article from an outside source or anything that you want to ask, you can ask at this point. Now before doing any of these or before starting with any of the lessons, I would definitely recommend that you take a mock. There's one mock which is already available in, and what it will do is it'll give you an idea of how the CAT exam is. This would be especially important if you're a first time CAT taker. So there's no marks target. You don't need to hit 20, 50, whatever. I would say set a target of 0, or don't set a target at all. Just experience what the CAT exam is like. What's the question paper palette like? How does it feel moving between questions, between sections, and so on. Even if you've taken CAT before, there's obviously been a gap between the CAT exam and now. So you might not have prepared much at this time, right? So it makes sense to take a mock and just see where you stand. Your scores might have increased or reduced. So that is the benchmark that you set, and from there on we increase to the approximate marks that we need to get that 99 or 99 plus. And in case if you need any form of personalized guidance or you want us to customize your schedule, if you're in the unlimited pack, just request a one-on-one with us. Now coming to the free resources, the author's POV. So this includes some of the solved examples that we had as well as these. Now the articles, of course, it's something which anybody can view, but it's something that I curate based on what I know that the CAT examiners look at, the sites that they look at, the articles across these different genres and so on. And you'll also have access to my POV. So if you want to check out the POV, there's also something which you will have. You can just click here and see what is the view and the supporting points. You'll also get it in the Telegram channel. We'll have it linked in the description and the first pinned comment as well. Aside from this, you'll also have access to 1 or 2 speed concepts on a daily basis. If you have a pack, then you'll have unlimited access. You can take a test, reset it, and so on. But you will still get 1 or 2 tests for free every day. And you will also similarly have 1 or 2 other speed modules. You'll typically have a couple of mocks depending on when you're seeing this, which you can take and you can get an idea of where we stand. And you'll also have access to the daily news. So the daily news is a set of 5 curated news articles which we have, which are news articles that you should know as, you know, a wannabe MBA grad or as a manager. And you'll also get access to a couple of days worth of daily quizzes. These are usually, you know, 15-minute quizzes across verbal, quant, and DILR. So you can keep taking this for daily practice. But if you have the pack, of course, you have the full set. You can also access the ones in the past and so on. So now, how do we start? So when it comes to the prep roadmap itself, start off with the lessons. Take some time between 3 to 5 months, depending on how much time you have and when you're watching this. So if you're watching it in Jan and Feb, you can finish it in 3 to 5 months. But if you're watching it in, you know, August or September, of course, you have to spend more time and make sure that you finish it maybe in a couple of months so that you have more time for practice and mocks and so on. Alongside this, practice and revision. So practice could be in the form of, you know, the live classes and the class discussion, the speed concepts, the daily POV, the actual practice questions from easy, medium, and hard, as well as the questions in the prep gym, daily quizzes. So there's a bunch of that for you. And also make sure that you are revising. So this could mean revising the techniques in verbal, but more important, you know, continuing to practice questions in DILR. So don't do, you know, only arrangements for a month and then numerical reasoning, just mix it up. Quant would be where revision is the most important. So say if, you know, you've done arithmetic this month and then you've gone on to algebra, by the end of next month, make sure that you are again going through arithmetic, not the entire videos, but the concept revision. So these are typically 15 to 20-minute videos where you have all of the concepts. So that is something which you can keep watching, and, you know, you can also, like, you know, take some of these tests after 1 or 2 months to make sure that you still got your hand in these topics. Along with this, you'll also be having the live classes. Currently, it's about 3 to 4 days a week, but they will soon get increased to 5 to 6 days every week. And you'll also be having the mocks and the test taking strategy sessions. Right now, I would say just take one mock before you're starting to get an idea of where you stand, and then you can take one mock every month. We'll be having a mock in each month. Or you can even like take this one mock and then take the next mock sometime in April. So you can take a couple of mocks from, you know, April onwards. And then as we get closer, say June, July, start taking weekly mocks, and of course attend the test taking strategy sessions that we have. Now, when it comes to the prep itself, we've got to prep smart and we've got to prioritize the important topics. So the important topics in verbal is the RC lesson. That's a long lesson, but that's going to give you a good chunk of your marks in CAT 2025. And along with that, make sure to practice the daily POVs. You can also bring in RCs as soon as, you know, you're doing well in the daily POVs. On the DILR front, it's actually a bigger chunk. So all 6 logical reasoning lessons would be important. I would say numerical reasoning is the most important, but all of it, ranking, matching, arrangements, all of these 6 topics are important. And in DILR, it's also very important to keep practicing. So these could be the cases in the lesson, in the classes, the practice questions, daily quizzes. Vignesh will be giving you a good chunk of DILR cases to practice. I think we already have more than 500. You'll also have some in mocks and sectionals and so on. And 1 to 2 cases a day is what will really help you to get there. And in quant, it will be arithmetic and algebra, and then the speed concepts for practice. Those tests will help you understand whether you're going to actually be able to solve it in CAT and in the mocks or not. Now, why are these topics so important? So if you look at RCs, you'll have around 16 questions. Take arithmetic and algebra, 12 to 14 questions. And if you take DILR, at least a couple of cases from logical reasoning. So that itself is about 40 questions. 40 into 3, 120 is much more than what you need for the 99th percentile. So if you do this very well, then you are on a very good way. So, and I would suggest finishing these over the next month. Now, all of the resources which we spoke about are there in the description and the pinned comment, and of course pinned in the Telegram groups. And I'll see you in my next class. Make sure to ask any doubts that you have.